So in the last class, we have discussed about what is the worm, what are the function of worm, what is the material used for the worm, and what are the applications and disadvantage of the worm. Now, see what are the thing you are seeing. This is nothing but worm, and sure. So here we can see lead, pitch, and gamma. So represents the first figure represent, you can see, shows a single thread worm or single start worm, figure A. Figure B shows double thread worm or double start worm. C shows triple threaded worm or triple start worm. Already in the last session I told that the pinion or worm having number of threads. So therefore, the threads, it may be a single start thread, or it may be a double start thread, or it may be a triple start thread. So this you have studied in the DME1 in screw jack, the design of thread. There you will get the single start, double start, triple start, where L is equal to lead. And so here we can see lead or P. The distance from one thread to the another thread is, we call it as lead or we call it as pitch. And the gamma is nothing but the slope of the thread. We call it as gamma or we call it as angle. And sure. So next we can see here in another figure. So the diameter is nothing but shaft diameter, and the distance from here to here is nothing but worm pitch, and we'll get angle, we call it as lead angle. The slope of the thread is nothing but lead angle. And sure, next we'll see some of the definition or nomenclature. First we'll see lead. Already I told, it is the amount the helix advises actually from one turn about the pitch cylinder, and it is equal to the number of thread times the pitch. So that is nothing but lead. It is represented by Pz is equal to Px into Z1. Always it is, you will get a Z1. Why means the lead you will get for pinion or worm. So it is Z1, where Pz is nothing but lead, Px is nothing but actual pitch, and Z1 is nothing but number of threads. Here we won't call it as number of teeth, we'll call it as number of threads or start on the worm. Now we'll see what is actual pitch, Ax. Actual pitch is nothing but, see here you can see the distance from one end of the thread to the another end, the distance from here to here is nothing but axial pitch. Next we will see, so this is the formula to calculate lead angle. Pz is equal to Px into Z1. This Px can be written as pi into mx. So from this equation number you will get. Next we will see what is lead angle. Already I told that lead angle is represented by gamma. The slope of the thread is nothing but lead angle. So it is having, the thread is cut with some angle, that slope we will call it as gamma. So this gamma can be calculated by using tan gamma is equal to Pz divided by pi into d1, where d1 is equal to pitch diameter of the worm, and Pz is nothing but, here you will get, that is nothing but lead. And sure, so next we will see center distance. So the formula to calculate center distance, A is equal to d1 plus d2 by 2, where d2 is equal to pitch diameter of the worm gear, d1 is equal to pitch diameter of the worm. Next we will see circular pitch. The circular pitch of the worm gear must be same as the actual pitch of the worm. Whatever the actual pitch you are having for the worm, same you will get for the worm gear, and can be expressed as same manner as the spur gauge. So how you are expressing for this worm gear, the circular pitch, P is equal to pi into m, in the same way I am representing. So circular pitch, P is equal to pi d2 divided by z2. So if you have circular pitch, whatever the actual pitch you are having, the same way we are representing for the gear. So that's why we'll get d2 z2, since it is for gear, where z2 is equal to number of teeth on the worm gear. And The formula next is velocity ratio I is equal to N1 by N2 is equal to Z2 by Z1 is equal to pi D2 divided by Pz. This is the formula to calculate velocity ratio I from this equation number. So this is the sum of the nomenclature. What is lead angle, center distance, circular pitch and velocity ratio. Now we will see. So this is next we'll see strength of the worm gears. How to calculate the strength of the worm gears, on what basis and what are the formulas. Now see, as always worm wheel is the weaker member. So in this worm gear problem we are not identifying which is the weaker member as you have done for this worm gears. Directly we are taking worm wheel. Worm wheel is nothing but pinion, I told that. So that is the thing, but weaker member. And design is always we are doing for the worm wheel. So then how to calculate the strength? That strength of the worm wheel based on the Lewis. So Lewis is given some formula. Based on that we are going to calculate the strength of the worm wheel. So that is the formula. Worm wheel, this that is nothing, always worm wheel, that is nothing but wheel, always you will get for 2. Already I told that wheel is nothing but worm gear. So always gear is represented by 2, pinion is represented by 1. So always for gear we are representing by 2. So directly we are taking for ft2 is equal to sigma naught to b mn y and cv, where y is nothing but Lewis form factor pi into y2 and mn is nothing but normal module and b is nothing but face width. It is less than or equal to 0.75 diameter. D1 for Z1 is equal to 1 to 2. If you get number of threads from 1 to 2, in between 1 and 2, we are taking B is equal to less than 0.75 times of D1. If you get number of threads Z1 is equal to 4, then we are taking diameter less than or equal to 0.67 D1. Next, so these are the, for me this equation you will get. Next, sigma naught 2 is equal to allowable static stress of the worm wheel. So that you will get from, if they are not given the material, so we are from this equation 23.96 we are taking the table number, we are taking that one. Next, CV velocity factor 6 divided by 6 plus Vm, always we are taking 6. So we are not depending upon the velocity, directly we are taking velocity factor is 6 divided by 6 plus Vm. And from the table 23.96 you are taking the worm material, and from this equation you are getting the velocity factor. Next, another is tangential tooth load. Already we know that the formula ft2 is equal to 9550 into 1000 into n into cs divided by n2 into r2. So n2 is nothing but speed of the worm wheel or worm gear, r2 is nothing but pitch circle radius of the worm wheel, Vm is nothing but mean pitch line velocity of the worm wheel, that can be calculated by pi d2 n2 divided by 60,000. Always we are calculating for worm wheel, so always you will get into n2 d2 everything. Next, this dynamic load. The dynamic load, the formula, the dynamic load of the worm gear can be used by using the relation Fd is nothing but dynamic load is equal to 6 plus Vm by 6 into Ft, or already we know that 6 divided by 6 plus Vm is nothing but Cv. Therefore, we can write it as Ft divided by Cv, reciprocal Ft divided by Cv, where Ft is nothing but axial transmitting load and Cv is nothing but velocity factor. So this is the formula to calculate dynamic load, Ft divided by Cv. Next, endurance strength. So this endurance strength is based upon the Lewis equation. So Ff is equal to F minus 1, that is equal to sigma naught to B y2 pi into Mn. So here same thing, F sigma naught 2 is a sigma naught 2 is equal to allowable static stress for the gear, B is equal to face width, y2 Lewis form factor, pi and normal module. Next, wear load. The wear load can be calculated by using based on the Buckingham's equation. He has given equation to calculate the wear load. Wear load Fw is equal to D2 B into K. Always here we are substituting D2, pitch diameter of the worm gear, face width and K load stress factor. that from the table 23.16 you will get. So these are the things we are doing. Same thing as in the previous case, we are calculating the tangential tooth load, Levis equation, next dynamic load, wear load, endurance, same thing, and extra things we will get here. So next we are going to calculate efficiency. Already I told that already we have discussed. So the worm gears having less efficiency due to the more power loss or more heat. So therefore efficiency can be calculated. See, the efficiency of the worm gear may be defined as ratio of output power divided by input power. Always efficiency is defined as output by input. Therefore, efficiency when the worm drives the worm gear. When worm is the driver and worm gear is the driven, then this is the formula to calculate efficiency from the equation number 23.604H. And another efficiency when worm gear drives the worm. When worm gear is the driver and worm is the driver, this is the another formula. So these are the two formulas depending upon which is the driver and which is the driven. So here unknown you will get, that is nothing but gamma is nothing but lead angle, alpha is nothing but coefficient of friction. This is the unknown. Alpha, that is mu, not alpha, sorry, mu, that is the coefficient of friction we have to calculate. This coefficient of friction is calculated based upon the rubbing velocity. So before calculating mu, first we have to calculate rubbing velocity Vr. That can be calculated. Rubbing velocity is equal to pi d1 n1 divided by 60,000 into cos gamma. This is the formula to calculate rubbing velocity. So based on the value obtained Vr, we are taking the formulas of mu. When Vr is less than 0.2, less than 2.75, that is greater than 0.2, less than 2.75, we are taking, this is the value of mu. If Vr is greater than 2.75, less than 20 meter per second, then this is the formula we are using. So depending upon the Vr we will get, we are taking the formulas of mu, coefficient of friction. Once you calculate mu, substituting, then we are calculating the efficiency. So these are the formulas to calculate efficiency. Next, thermal rating of worm gear. Already I told that the worm gears are more heat producers. So therefore we are going to calculate heat generated and heat dissipated. So in worm gear, the heat generated due to the work lost in friction must be dissipated in order to avoid overheating of the drive and lubrication. So we are going to avoid overheating. So therefore we are calculating how much heat is generated and how much heat is coming out. So the heat generated can be calculated Hg, the formula mu into Fn Vr divided by 10,000. Already mu we have calculated in the previous step, that is nothing but coefficient of friction. Vr is nothing but rubbing velocity. In the previous step you have calculated, only unknown is Fn. Fn is nothing but normal force. So that can be calculated by using the formula Ft2 divided by cos gamma into cos alpha. So calculating Fn and substituting, then we are calculating the heat generated Hg. Next, the generated heat must be dissipated through the lubricating oil to the gearbox, housing, and then the atmosphere. Whatever the heat generated should be come out. How it will come? First it will transfer to the from the lubricating oil. From the oil only the heat is removed. Already we know that the main function of the oil is to reduce the heat. So from the oil, the heat is reduced, coming, then it is transferred to the gearbox, housing, then it is coming to the atmosphere. Next, the heat dissipation capacity depends upon area of the housing. Whatever the heat coming, it depends upon the area of the housing, and it is depend on temperature difference between the housing surface and surrounding air and heat transfer coefficient of the housing material. And so depending upon these three, the heat dissipated will depends. So and this can be calculated, heat dissipated can be calculated, Hd is equal to Hcr A into Tg minus Ta divided by 1000, where A is nothing but radiating area of housing in mm square. Formula is 14.48 to the power of 1.7. A is nothing but center distance, small a. Tg is nothing but temperature of the gear. TA is nothing but ambient or room temperature. HCR is nothing but coefficient of heat transfer. From the figure, we are taking from the figure number 2.89. So next, so these are the formulas we are using to calculate the efficiency, to calculate heat generated, and to calculate the heat dissipated. Next, we'll see some of the notations. Terminologies. Already we know that Z1 is nothing but number of starts of the worm or number of threads. Z2 is nothing but number of teeth on the worm wheel. M is nothing but module. Q is nothing but diametrical quotient that can be calculated by using formula d1 by m. d1 is equal to pitch circle diameter of the worm, or it can be calculated by using the formula d1 is equal to a to the power of 0.875 divided by 1.5, where d1 and a are in mm. d2 is equal to pitch circle diameter of the wheel, that is equal to m into z2. Px is axial pitch, pz is lead, that is equal to px into z1, and gamma is the lead angle. So it can be written as pz by pi d1. Pz can be written as pi m into z1 divided by pi d1. Pi get cancelled. M into z1 by d. D can be converted into q into m. Again mm get cancelled. So tan gamma can be written as z1 by q. Next, A is equal to center distance, P is equal to power, B is equal to phase width. Already we have discussed. And this is the formula. You calculate the power. AGMA power rating. AGMA power rating based on VR. Based on VR, this is the formula to calculate power. That is N1 by I, KQ, capital CV in kilowatts. N is the power, N1 is the speed, I is the velocity ratio, Q is equal to I divided by I plus 2.5. C is the velocity factor based upon the center distance. Bm is the pitch line velocity of worm, that is equal to pi d1 n1 divided by 60,000. Pi d1 n1 divided by 60,000. K is equal to pressure constant based on the center distance. Next, so this is the formula to calculate K based upon the center distance. So depending upon the center distance you will get, so directly we are taking the value of K. So where you will get K means, so here we are having K. So here in the formula to calculate power based on AGMA, see we are having Kn, K. So to calculate K, so based upon the power, so we are directly taking the value of K. Whatever the center distance you will get, based upon that we are taking. So here AGMA is nothing but Alliance for Gear Market and Counterflows, or American Gear Manufacturing Association. AGMA refers for American Gear Manufacturing Association, the full form of AGMA. So these are the things related to the formulas. So how to calculate the tangential tooth load, Levy's equation, wear load, dynamic load, heat generated, heat dissipated in the gas, efficiency and power. And sure. So next we'll see what is self-locking in worm gears. The efficiency of the worm gears may be defined as ratio of work done by the worm gear to the work done by the worm. So always we'll consider efficiency of output by input. Therefore, their efficiency is defined as work done by the worm gear to the work done by the worm. If the efficiency of the worm gear is less than 50%, then the worm gear is said to be self-locking. If the efficiency is less than 50%, then we will call it as self-locking gear. And sure. So next, we are having some problems. Sure. So in the next session, we'll discuss the problems. So how to design the worm gear and how to calculate the efficiency of the worm, efficiency, what is, how much it is generated, how much amount of it is dissipated, how to calculate power.